to glow and look very youthful. How do you feel?
Thank you so much, Christine. First of all, I feel amazing. I don't think I've ever looked this good.
How was your experience like going through the whole transformation?
Well, first of all, you guys didn't make me see a mirror in like 6 hours.
Yes.
So the torture was unbearable. But wow, I mean, having the hair done, having the whole makeup done, you guys were so thorough and detailed oriented. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And the clothes fit perfectly. Thank you. So do the shoes. Yeah, and finally when I saw and had the reveal, wow.
I think this hair just makes you look so regal.
Yeah, some elegance, you know, some bounce.
Is it a look that you could have chosen yourself?
Definitely it's out there with the makeup. I've never done makeup this much, or you know, the bronze and everything. So definitely by my own, I don't think so, but I love it.
So it's all about the glow and adding more glow, and I can't wait for you to try the second outfit, because this was very like extra with the bling and all that.
Yeah.
With the next outfit, it's toned down, simple, classic black velvet dress. Are you ready to try on the next one?
Yes, I am.
Cool. The second look was more classical with a beautiful black velvet dress. For her makeup, I gave her a bright red lipstick to bring out that strong character in her. I hope this show inspires you. If you're going through addiction or a traumatic ordeal, there is always a second chance for everyone, and it's never too late to put yourself together so that you can bring out the best in you. Until next time, thank you for watching Cover Girl Looks with Christine Korea.
Can't understand why. You get to be crown prince. Do you really think that you deserve to be crown prince?
You don't happen to like me, do you?
I'm warning you. Never touch her again.
How dare you? As public servants, you disregarded lives, spread rumors that vessels were being made.
I thought that. She was just very arrogant. I never thought that she'd do something this evil.
How dare she do that? She deceived me.
以为当归入药汤，相思泪蓄的心头上，捏儿了手在纸上。
Hautakii mazuri, usiamini kila mtu.
Sasa kwa hakika angekuwa hana nia nzuri, angekuja kumamkwa Maya kweli.
Lolote litakalo mtokea Maya, utalipa na kile kilicho nacho.
Tutampenda tiketi kama vile kwa tukimpenda mama yetu mzazi.
Vipi boss? Nataka kazi.
Akikutaka Maya, atakutafuta.
very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sportscheck on this Monday morning. It's the 9th day of August 2021. It's a day after the closure of the Tokyo Olympics. We'll be having a conversation around that while we keep up with what's happening all around the world of news in Kenya and outside of the country. Before we get into our conversations that we have on Monday mornings, let us move over to Mombasa and catch up with an event that is going on where the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is meeting with the Kenya Media Sector Working Group that comprises the Media Council of Kenya, the Kenya Editors Guild, and the Kenya Union of Journalists. They are meeting with the IBC, and speaking right now is the IBC chair, Mr. Wafula Chebukati.
The aggrieved parties filed a total of 71 complaints, out of which 31 were prosecuted and accused persons found culpable. 2 defaulted the orders of the committee and were disqualified from contesting. 14 were found not culpable and the matters were dismissed for lack of merit, and 3 were dismissed by order of the High Court. 3 were withdrawn, 3 complaints were withdrawn and 4 stayed by the High Court through judicial review. The disputes emanated from breach of code of conduct, touching on campaigns leading to violence, plagiarism, and or use of symbols of other candidates. We also had independent candidates using symbols of the parties where they had failed to clinch nomination, destruction or defacing of campaign materials of other candidates. These were some of the issues that came before us. Another issue that I've seen in the public discourse is resignation of public officers 6 months to elections. And this is clearly captured in section 43.3 of the Elections Act, which provides that a public officer who intends to contest an election under this act shall resign from the public office at least 6 months before the date of election. We have seen some discussion in the public, but for general information, the Commission would like to remind all public officers of the decision of the Court of Appeal case at Nyeri Civil Application number 62 of 2017, where the judges stayed the judgment from the Labor and Employment Relations Court, which was issued in Kericho by Justice Marete. Remember that judgment? Justice Marete had allowed public servants to, among other things, that they go campaign. If they fail, they come back to the office, and that they don't have to resign 6 months to. But the Court of Appeal stayed that judgment, meaning that public officers who wish to contest in the upcoming general election must resign 6 months to the general election. That remains the law, and that must be complied with. So that should remove any doubt to those who think there's a judgment of the court that will allow them to work until the last day. Let them leave, resign and go, and let other Kenyans take those positions. Election campaign financing law. Yesterday I saw some coverage on this. The Commission, in compliance with sections 18 and 19 of the Election Campaign Financing Act of number 42 of 2013, set expenditure limits for candidates and parties for the 2022 general elections. The limits set by the Commission have been sent to the government printer for publication in the Kenya Gazette.
Well, that is the chair of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Wafula Chebukati, who is addressing our Kenya Media Stakeholders Working Group that comprises the Media Council of Kenya, the Kenya Editors Guild, the Kenya Union of Journalists, and it is about the coverage of the elections. And Mr. Chebukati has mentioned about the electoral financing laws and also the procedure of which people in public service have got to follow. Do you quit or do you take unpaid leave if you're looking for an electoral position in the country? So reporter Juni Carissa will be giving us details of that story later today in our bulletins. Well, we welcome you to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 9th day of August 2021. Conversations today will be mainly around the Olympics and Team Kenya's performance when it comes to especially on the athletics field, and also Kenya Sevens. So we've got an athletics coach who's be joining us shortly. We've got Innocent Timiu, who we will be speaking to at 11 a.m. And later we shall be talking about football, because it's not the top tier league at the moment that's very exciting in this country. It's a national super league. Not many people talk about that, but knocking on the doors of the FKF Premier League are at least 4 teams. Details of that to come over the next 2 hours. Our sign language interpreter this morning is Ann Wangeshi. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag is Sportscheck KBC. Let's get straight into that conversation. And we all know that the closing ceremony for the Olympic Games happened yesterday, last evening from 2 p.m. And the spectacle in Japan, it brought a close to that. And all those and the conversations around Kenya were mainly about one person, Eliud Kipchoge, picking a second Olympic gold. And the story was he was physically distancing himself from the competition. Well, to break it down for us when it comes to the athletics program, let's joined by a regular athletics analyst, Coach Stephen Mwaniki. Coach, good morning to you.
Morning to you, Wahome.
And straightforward, you could first give us the overall picture of Team Kenya's performance at the Tokyo Olympics, because a lot has been said about it, but what your perspective of it, having worked with the national teams at various events?
This outing, the team which went to Olympics in Tokyo, I can say they did their very best, because the prevailing condition, you remember the country was locked down in 2020, and also we had a very difficult season for us, because there was no competition, there was nothing. So the performance was good. According to me, we did what we could to be able to achieve the results that we got in Tokyo. Being number 1 in Africa, that shows that Kenya is still the best in Africa, and also being number 19 in the world, it shows that we are still up there. Though we missed here and there, but the performance was good, and I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our team in Tokyo, Team Kenya, for their splendid performance.
So straightforward, let's now get what the reactions of the various athletes were. Eliud Kipchoge winning the men's marathon gold yesterday, 2 hours and 8 minutes and 38 seconds. That was 6 seconds faster than the time he clocked in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, becoming the 3rd Kenyan to ever retain an Olympic title. Let's move forward and listen to Eliud Kipchoge's reaction after winning the Olympic gold medal in the men's marathon.
Medalist once more. It was never in doubt. What a man, what an achievement, and what a moment. Of everything he's done, of everywhere he's been, this will mean that...
It's actually respecting having a good preparation and good planning. That's what actually uplifted me to be into the finishing line. There is the start and the end. So I'm still around, but it will reach a time where I'll have my dressing shoes and do other things in this world. I want to change the world and do other things. Actually, I want to give my gratitude to the local organizing committee of Japan for making this thing happen. It's really hard. There was actually side shows from north, west, south, and west, but they keep calm and make sure the Olympics happen. Kudos, bravo the local organizing committee.
So, and there you've heard it from Eliud Kipchoge. First of all, he says the organizers did a good job to ensure that this event did take place, and for him to participate his second marathon of the year after the NN Mission Marathon in April. Your overall take on Eliud Kipchoge's performance, and Lawrence Cherono pushing so hard, and Amos, he had to drop out. But the 4th place finish for Cherono, that he lost to the Dutch and Belgian athletes.
Well, what a performance for him to finish the Olympic with the gold medal, he emulated the great Abebe Bikila, winning the Olympics twice, and this is great for our country. And I was happy to witness the closing ceremony whereby Kenya, the national anthem was sung twice for the women and for the men. And Eliud Kipchoge, I still think that he can't hang his boot right now. The guy is still strong, and he's a legend. And I would pray that he should give us another 3 more years in Paris, at least, because you cannot compare him with anybody. He's still strong, he's still healthy, and age doesn't matter. He can still prove it. By 39 years, he can still do it again. So kudos to Eliud Kipchoge and his colleagues, because this was a splendid performance in Sapporo, Japan.
And this country is never ceases to amuse me at times every year, because the conversation was that, all right, Eliud Kipchoge may be tempted to go for Berlin, but ideally, why would such stories suffice? And this was earlier in the week when no one saw any medals coming, and a judgment had been passed on the performance of Kenya as the worst ever.
Yeah, this is not the worst performance, because we've been having outings in Olympics, major Olympics, and we've even ended up with 2 gold medals. But this one, we were able to get 4 gold medals, despite the challenges that the country faced. You remember the lockdown and all this problem of COVID, that really affected our performances. The other thing, the restrictions in Japan. You could see the athletes, especially the middle and long distance runners, they normally operate. If you look at the marathoners, and I think this is where I give credit to our organizers, the marathoners landed 7 days before the event.
Yes.
And this one, they could not lose what they had achieved in training here in Kenya. But if you look at our middle distance runners, by going there earlier, because the conditions were you have to be there so that you'll be tested and then be allowed to run, it had some toll on our athletes. This really affected our athletes, because most of the time we normally go there 3 days, 2 days before an event, and then we start the event. But this time round, there were conditions that we had to follow. We had to make sure that our athletes are there earlier, so that they are allowed to compete. And this naturally affected our athletes, especially the middle and long distance runners.
We'll be coming to that. And for the marathoners, when you say the 7 days did give them a good advantage, knowing that they were going to run on a Saturday and on a Sunday, on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, how much of an edge did they have given the staggered travel that we saw with Team Kenya?
Yeah, for the marathoners, I think it favored them, because you see the time zone and all that, they were able to cope. And traveling on Monday and then competing on Saturday and Sunday, it really it was on their side, and really that is why we were able to see the performance that we witnessed in Sapporo. Though it's a big challenge, especially for those who are affected by the heat and humidity, but at least we can say, in marathon, we were able to get 100% of what we were looking for. Getting 2 gold medals for men and women, that is a big plus for us.
Well, talking about the gold medals that were won by the men and the women, the 2 gold medals in the marathons, and Kenya, winning another medal. Jemima Sumgong won in 2016. Right now, she's not in athletics due to the sanctions that she faced, but Perez Jepchirchir winning the women's marathon, the World Half Marathon champion, beating the world record holder Bridget Kosgei. Bridget Kosgei took a silver medal in that event. Let's take a look at the reactions from Bridget Kosgei and Perez Jepchirchir at the end of the women's race, which had to start an hour earlier due to the extreme weather conditions. All right. we shall be getting that video of the women's marathon. First of all, the change of time, Coach, it caught everyone by surprise on Friday afternoon because everyone was ready to get up at 1 a.m. But anyone who woke up at 1 a.m. found a race that was almost halfway.
Yeah, but I want to congratulate the local organizing committee in Japan because they were looking at the weather pattern and they felt that to have the event 1 hour before was going to be working towards making sure that the athletes, all of the athletes, have finished the event, and that is why you saw that so many women were able to finish the event. Out of those who started, around 73 finished the marathon, and this went down well with our women athletes because the conditions and the heat in Japan was terrible. But for the marathoners, it was within their range, running at around 26 to 28 degrees Celsius. That did not affect us so much. And according to statistics, Kenyans, they normally perform well during where we have this kind of condition.
Well, and this is out in the East. We know Catherine Dereva has won gold in 2007, won a silver in 2008 in that heat. I know that's a person you always have conversations with. What are the stories that she has given about running in the East in those hot and humid conditions?
Yeah, you know, with those kind of conditions, it depends with how you prepare yourself. And generally, the preparations of Kenyans is no doubt is the best preparation that we normally have. Training at high altitude and also doing a lot of mileage in training. This kind of favors our athletes, and that's why we've been able to perform very well in such conditions.
Well, we have that video of the reaction of Peres Jepchirchir, gold medalist at the Olympic Games in the women's 1,500 meters. Plus, we also have got Bridget Kosgei, the silver medalist in the women's marathon.
Nashukuru Mungu sana. It was unbelievable. Sikuwa na expect, but we pray, and God did his work. Na bidii yenye tulifanya kwa mazoezi. Because I thank Athletic Kenya kwa sababu aliniselect to be among the Olympic 2020. I think it was by God. Because 2020, it was good to me. This 2021, it was good to me. It was good to me, so I thank God so much. Niko marathon na sitaacha half marathon. I'm still in 64, watu wako 65. So, I'm still in 65, watu wako 64. So, sijasema nimetosheka kwa half marathon. Marathon is not easy. Yeah.
Hiyo ilikuwa mzuri, lakini baada ndio ilikuwa joto sana, lakini tulivumilia kadri ya uwezo wetu mpaka position imechukua na wenzangu akachukua gold, na tunafurahia wote sababu imekuja country yetu, kwa sababu mara ya kwanza mimi kurepresent Kenya. Niko furaha sana, nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu sababu country yetu imechukua gold na mimi nikachukua silver. Nashukuru Mungu na nashukuru tena coach wangu Frey, nashukuru timu ya Kenya kuselect to represent country, na nashukuru tena coach na trainer wangu.
Well, the two Kenyan medalists in the women's marathon, Peres Jepchirchir, and also we've got Bridget Kosgei. I mean, listening to this marathoners now, we've had Peres say there's no way she's leaving the half marathon. Looks like she's totally in love with it. Florence Kiplagat used to break the world record for fun in Barcelona every year, and now it's Peres Jepchirchir who's doing it, and she's saying, look, I'm at 65, I need to go down to 64. What are the next opportunities for these road runners?
Yeah, they have a bright future, and according to their past performance, I think they still need to continue pushing the record. And you see, one thing about athletics is the faster you can run in a shorter distance, then you can be able to match up in the longer distance. And that is why you see our top marathoners have tried their luck in the half marathon. And the top women in the country have at least done very well in half marathon. So it is part of the build-ups to the full marathon. And I think for Peres, she's still strong. She can be able to run the half marathon and also the full marathon. The other thing is that I would like to say this time round, for the first time, we were able to send the best from the country. The best represented us in Sapporo, and that is why we were able to scoop the first and second position. And even we could have taken the third position, though the current world champion Ruth could not be able to continue with the event because of a problem that she had. And we also want to congratulate her for pushing her colleagues up to the 25-kilometer mark. And this is where she communicated to the rest of the team that she's not okay. And that's why you could see now Paris and Bridget changing the pace and trying to wear down the opponents.
Especially Luna Zapelta of Israel. I mean, at one point had to take a little walk at 38 kilometers before deciding, let me finish the race, and she sat right at the finishing line.
Yeah, but she's also a very strong contender because she has a personal best of 2 hours 17 minutes, and we could not take chances with her, so we had to wear her down as we continued for the last kilometers. And this is our secret. You see, as we run strongly in the last kilometers, that is how we are able to break the strength of our opponents. Yeah.
So let's move on now to another event. You all love her, Faith Kipyegon. She won the Olympic title in 2016. 4 minutes, 8 point seconds. And then she wins it in an Olympic record, 3:53.11, bringing that down. I mean, the whole difference of 15 seconds in that distance in conditions that were ideally the same in Rio de Janeiro and Tokyo. It was quite phenomenal, and also stopping Sifan Hassan from claiming a historic treble at the Olympics. This was Faith Kipyegon speaking after she won the gold medal in the women's 1,500 meters.
Nafurahi sana, at least nimewin first gold medal. I can say first gold medal as a mom. It really means a lot to me. Yeah. And I dedicate this medal to my daughter. Yeah. Nikimwana too, at least nafurahi. I mean, encourage me to work hard. So I'm so happy for her, and this medal belongs to her, and I'm so happy.
If the daughter was in Tokyo, what would have been the response that would have seen from Faith Kipyegon, because her daughter this time around was at home?
Yeah, this is a strong message to all moms in Kenya. You know, sometimes some women, when they go through the once they become moms, some of them tend to give up in whatever they are doing. But this is a strong message to all our athletes, to all Kenyan women, that it's possible to do whatever you want to do, so long as you are dedicated and you're determined to achieve the results. The other thing also that should not escape our mind is that most of the athletes, they do this because they want to secure a future, a bright future for their families. And this is very important, very crucial for all that are in sports or in whatever they are doing. So for Faith Chemgetich to defend her title, this was a positive move for all Kenyan, especially those who witnessed the event, which was a tough race. I can say it was a tough race because with Sifa Hassan running with her, this was tough to call, but eventually she was able to win. Because you remember in our earlier interview, I told you that if we make it tough, then it's possible for us to win. But if we make it slow, Sifa Hassan can just jump in and get the medal. But we thank God for the results.
Overall, Faith had some very fast times throughout these Olympics. At the heats, in the semi-finals, at 3:56, and everyone asked, okay, Faith, what are you up to? And then comes Sifan Hassan, and with about 250 meters to go, I have to admit that race was fast and blistering, but she was able to get the kick. How much of a difference has her training regime, been, considering that in 2019 she had only trained for 8 months, taking a silver in the 1.5, and now here is a gold, having done proper training.
Yeah, I think with proper training, you know, sometimes also when you are running through the qualifying rounds, for her to run 3:56, this was clearly sending a message to Sifa, his son, that we are not going to let it go. And it was a clear message that she was in shape of her life. I think if she had run a slower time in the semis, maybe it could have given Sifa's son some confidence. But out there, we were sending a message that this is going to be tough, and tough for her to break the world, to break the Olympic record. It was a good performance from her, and I think the way she trained this year, and from 2020 to 2021, this was a phenomenon. For her to be able to get all these good times, it was unbelievable, because she has run several 350s, 52s.
351,
the national record, 352, 353, and then again 353. This was tough, and I think she was in the shape of her life.
Well, at the start of it all, you mentioned about mums and athletics. Let me just mention Catherine Dereva, Helen Obiri, Vivian Cheruiyot, and now Faith Chepngetich. I mean, the moment they came from that maternity break, the beast mode that was unleashed in their careers is at another level. Just what happens? Because they come back as totally different athletes.
Yes, something that we need also to sit down and think. For example, if I may ask, this Olympics, we were supposed to have the Olympics in 2020.
Yes.
We did not participate in the 2020 because of Corona. And then now we came to 2021. We had a few races. Our athletes did a few races. So it means we had enough time for build-ups. We had enough time for training. So when women are coming from the maternity leave, they come back with determination. They have the strength, they have the energy, and they have everything. And at stake, their families. So they go out there to prove to the families that they are there for them. And this is very important. This is another psychological boost for women. And this is a very strong message to our women that whatever you want to do, whatever achievement, whatever you want to achieve, you should not come in with an excuse that I had a baby or I had what, all this and that. It is you to motivate yourself. Because I think getting kids is self-motivation. Motivation, yeah.
Oh, well, the message, I'm sure, is there, and you can see, you've seen it from, Vivian Cheruiyot in 2016 when she was saying, Alan says, "Mommy, go, mommy, go, mommy, go." And the same thing with Helen Obiri and Catherine Dereva. They've all said the same thing, and we've also had it from Faith.
And even Paris.
And also Paris Jepchir,
yeah,
coming back from that. Now, another medal, and this one was one that not many Kenyans had counted on, the silver. Everyone was looking at it, but Emmanuel Korir won a gold medal in the men's 800 meters, and Ferguson Rotich took a silver medal. And their conversations after the race are playing now.
The race to be slow, so I thought maybe we're gonna run the fastest time ever, but no one was willing to carry the cross in the first 400. So I did it. I mean, I controlled the pace, did my best, and the Australian guy, Mr. Paul, tried to control the last 300 meters. And I said to myself, let me just try push the last 100 meters and see if I will make it. So it worked. I never knew Ferguson and the other guy was behind me, so I was just struggling to the line. Yeah.
Meeting ya leo ilikuwa nguvu na nilijaribu kutoka nje first lap, but uliona race ilikuwa slow first lap na hakuna yule alikuwa angeweza kujitokeza aende mbele juu angekuwa rapid pale, so ikabidi tungojeane, and that's why you find everyone was going inside, coming out, and a lot of pushing.
Ferguson Rotich, well, he had so much to say. I'll be coming back to part of what hasn't been said on that video that we've just watched. But the first thing was, how did that race play out for you?
Yeah, it was a good race, though it was slow. And I'm happy because it played into the hands of Koril. one thing that those who are running with him forgot is that Korir is a sprinter running 44 seconds in 400. So for him to pass the first lap in 53 seconds, that was a slow pace. And everybody was waiting and waiting and waiting. And now what happened is at the last 150 meters, Korir had to apply his sprinting ability. And that was why he was advantaged to win this race, because he's a sprinter. He's a middle distance runner and also a sprinter. He has the sprinting ability, and that is how we were able to get the gold medal. And Ferguson got the silver medal, though it was a struggle for Ferguson to be able to get his way into the medal bracket.
I will mention about Emmanuel Korir, and it's something that we've seen so many times. I'll mention names. Billy Conchella was a 400-meter runner. He was doing 45.3 on Maram, 40 years ago, before he became an 800-meter runner, became a world champion. We've seen Paul Lireng actually, he's had to be moved to the 800s. Recently, Mary Mora from 400 to 800. What's the story of converting these 400-meter runners with potential? For example, like Emmanuel Korir, he's got the potential to do a sub 44, but turn him into an 800-meter runner.
Yeah, it is a story that has started a very long time ago, because if I remember in 1976 Olympics, this guy from Cuba called John Tirana, he was able to win the 400 and 800 meters. And also, if you remember Rudisha, he was good in 400. He was able to post 45 seconds in 400 meters. And this actually is part of the game. If you are good in 400 meters, then you only need to work on your endurance. You work on your endurance and stamina, and then the rest you leave it to the competition. Because those who can be able to sprint the last 300 meters, they have the advantage of winning the 800 meters. So as a coach, you need to work on the endurance aspect. Make sure that your athlete is well equipped, and then with the sprinting ability, you are home and dry. It's easy for you to be able to get the medal by running the last meters.
Something that Emmanuel Korir admitted is that if the race was fast, then he doesn't have that final kick at the 200 meters. It would not be as effective as it would be if it was slow. Then how do you then get him to that level? Because he's got the 400 meter speed. It's there, it's natural for him. But in the 800, that's where everything is now.
Yeah, the coach needs to work on his endurance and his stamina and his special endurance and all that. It's very important, because if you look at the case of somebody like Sifa Hassan, she's very good in sprinting. So if you want to wear her down, you need to make it fast. For the 800 meter, Emmanuel Korir, it's not possible for him to run the whole 800 meters. But if people play into his hands and run with him the first 400 meters easy, then it becomes much easier for him to be able to strike and win the event. So athletes are talented in some are talented in both, and some are talented in one area and they are not talented in the other area. So as a coach, it's up to you to see how you can be able to work with the athletes and be able to develop all the aspects of running.
Now, there's something I want to bring up here, and this is the case of something that Ferguson Rotich said. And what he said is Kenya is headed Kenya at the moment, we're not doing things the right way. For the simple reason is that you have a coach who's he could be dealing with, to use his words, Coach ako na watumia. And the rest of the world, the coaches are dealing with small numbers. How much, from your field are you doing so that, you can have that analysis of every individual athlete to ensure they meet their maximum potential?
Yeah, the challenge we have here is the infrastructure. And the infrastructure, I'm talking in terms of coaches. We have very few coaches and so many athletes. For example, like me in the prisons, I deal with around 40 sprinters. I deal with around 40 sprinters, and I have to make sure that each and every one of them gives her or his best. And this is a challenge that we are facing. And it's important that we be able to develop more coaches to be able to assist our athletes. We cannot tell an athlete not to come. Somebody has come, wants to become an athlete, and then you send them away. It's not possible. For a coach, you just work with all this group. We are not like in Europe, whereby they have very few people who volunteer to become athletes. But in Kenya, you'll find a coach dealing with around 40, 50 athletes. And this is a big challenge for the coaches, because you see, you need to have that personal attention. You need to give each and every athlete some kind of attention to be able to develop all the aspects of running. And this sometimes affects us as coaches. But this is our country, and we have to give each and every person a chance to be able to compete.
Well, we'll be coming to the matter of personal attention shortly, but some history was made when Polly Reng became the first Olympic gold medalist from Kenya to coach another Olympic gold medalist. We've seen silver medalists Patrick Sang and Moses Kiptanui go on to coach Olympic and world champions. We're talking about Eliud Kipchoge and Ezekiel Kimboi. What's the whole phenomenon that, the buzz now that would come around, previous Olympic gold medalists who may want to get into coaching after seeing the fruits of Polly Reng's labor?
Yeah, it's possible, but it's not also not possible. Some people are they're just meant to run, and after that they can't be able to offer anything else. But some people are able to come back and try to reorganize others and teach them the few tricks about running. For example, if you look at Patrick Sang, he was known as a silver medalist.
Yes.
He was a silver king. But you see, now he has turned it into gold, because he has shown them the few mistakes that he went through for him not to win a gold. And now he has been able to transverse that and change it into winning formula. And this is very important. And the way we've been talking about a coach dealing with 40 or 50 athletes, we can convert all our athletes, most of them who are interested. They can come in and assist, give a hand. Mm-hmm. For example, if you look at people like Eliud Kipchoge, though I don't want to say that Eliud Kipchoge should retire now, because the guy is still strong. Mm-hmm. And I think he can be able to also run in Paris. Paris is only 3 years. So 3 years is just next door. So what I want to, the point I want to put across is that some people can be able to come in and assist, especially those who are former athletes. They can come in and assist and be able to rectify the few mistakes that some of us as coaches made, and they can come up with a very good formula to assist, so long as you have that passion. You see, to be a coach, you must have a passion. You must be able to sacrifice. You must be able to undergo all the difficulties that the athletes undergo, because as a coach, you are a mentor, you are a father, you are a parent, you are everything. So it's a difficult task. It's not as easy as we might want to look at it. But it's important that those who are retiring, they can come in and assist. For example, now we are facing some difficulties in steeplechase. If we can talk to Ezekiel Kimboi, what was his secret? He might decide to come in and assist. Moses Kiptanui used to train athletes, and then now he's back into his business. But we need such people to come in and assist, and be able to assist our athletes, so that we can be able to continue with our tradition, whereby we've been winning in all major championships.
We'll be coming down to the steeplechase because it was a bronze medals. Well, we've taken a look at the gold medal, the 4 gold medals and 2 silver medals. Next, the 2 silver medals. First, Timothy Cheruiyot, the world champion and a late inclusion in the men's 1,500 meters team after Kamare Tiang, was told you cannot participate due to the AIU regulations. He took a silver medal behind Jakob Ingebrigtsen of Norway. Jakob Ingebrigtsen winning in an Olympic record. But this is Timothy Cheruiyot speaking after he picked up a silver medal at the Olympics.
Nzuri, ilikuwa Olympic yangu ya kwanza na ilikuwa na pressure mingi, but nimemanage, nimepata medali ya silver. Haikuwa rahisi vile, imekuwa na challenges kidogo, lakini nimefurahi kwa medali nimepata siku ya leo. Niko na furaha sana kwa sababu si wengi wanapata medali kwa Olympics, na nimefurahi sana siku ya leo kwa sababu nimeingia podium. Lengo yangu leo ilikuwa niingie podium, na target ilikuwa goal, but Jacob amekuwa strong for the 100 meters to go. Yeah. Kweli nilikuwa namba 4 kwa trials, na before nifika hapa nimepitia challenges mingi, a lot of pressure, lakini niko na furaha siku ya leo kwa sababu nimepata medali. Hiyo mbio ya leo nilikuwa naangalia Apple kwa sababu Apple alikuwa shape, alikuwa good form. So nilikuwa naangalia akuje aniokoe kwa sababu ilifika mahali before 200 meters nikaanza kusikia miguu yangu ya right hamstring. So nilikuwa naangalia Apple kama atakuwa nyuma yangu aniokoe achukue hiyo medali. Yeah. Hii silver ya leo na dedicate for my entire family. Yeah.
Dedicating it to his family, but also the case of saying, with just about a lap to go, I felt my muscle was a bit tight, it's pulling. Timothy Cheruiyot, his front running, did it hit him in that final?
First, we have to congratulate Timothy Cheruiyot. You remember, he was not in the trials, he finished 4th, and he was not to go to the Olympics. But we also want to thank the federation because it was unfortunate for Etiang because he had not gone through the doping, how the athletes are supposed to go through the doping.
The whole doping process.
The whole doping process. But for him to go to Tokyo, this was a plus for us. And during the finals, I could see that he was, his trademark is to run fast. He normally ran fast.
Yes.
Because Timothy is used to winning fast, not slow. And this time round, he was trying to apply his tactics to try and push it, wear down the opponents, and get it. But I'm sorry, something happened there because we did not have the team tactics. Asbel Kipsang was behind, he was running behind, he was not coming in front to run with his colleague. And that is why you see Timothy is saying that he was waiting for him to come in and assist him because already the problem which occurred at Kasarani recurred again. And fortunately...
Recap Kasarani.
Yeah, you could see in Kasarani, he was also leading. And the last 100 meters, he could not be able to push himself because he had this hamstring problem, which is being sorted out and it's not 100%. But we thank God for him to get the silver. And it was a fast race. This is the first time you saw Ingrid Bristin breaking the Olympic record. And also for him to run 3:29 at a major championship, this was not easy. And we want to thank him because out of his strength, the mental strength, he was able to get the silver medal. Though he had an injury and we could look at it and see that this was not the real Cheruiyot we know, because he normally sprints the last 100 meters, but he could not sprint. With an hamstring, you can't sprint. Yeah.
Now, it brings in, and what you said, the personal attention that coaches need to pay to athletes. Bernard Ouma has worked with Timothy Cheruiyot. Anytime Ouma and Cheruiyot, they're around, something phenomenal always happens. Simply, how much of a change that Bernard Ouma was included as part of the national team coaching staff and he left in advance, did it in any way change the way Timothy performed?
Yeah, in a way, it could have affected him because now for Timothy Cheruiyot to be here 1 month and his coach Ouma to be in Tokyo for 1 month.
For 2 weeks.
For almost 2 or 3 weeks without his athlete. That also can also affect an athlete because you see there are a lot of things apart from training. There's this talking, there's a psychological preparation and all this. So this one, I might say that it somehow affected him. Because you see, Ouma has something that he normally tells his athlete what to do, how to go about it and all that. The training is not only the doing the workout.
Mm-hmm. It's not the whistle and the stop clock.
No, the whistle and the stop clock. Sometimes you need to sit down, have a pep talk with the athlete, convince the athlete that this is possible, you're going to get it, and all that. So somehow it affected him. I remember back in 1988, Douglas Wakihuri, he left Japan 1 week before for the Olympics. And the coach, if I can remember very well, if my memory is serving me very well, the coach was left behind 1 week sorting some problem back in Japan. So what happened? Wakiuri got silver, and the coach said he blames himself because that 1 week costed Wakiuri the gold medal. And that is, we need to look into all the aspects so that at least we give a chance to our athletes. Yeah.
Now, let's move on to Hellen Obiri, 5,000 meters world champion. And she took a silver in the 5,000 meters and finished fourth in the 10,000 meters. This is the last we've seen of her on the track. She said that at the end of this, after this Olympic cycle, she's heading to the roads. This is what Hellen Obiri had to say about the silver medal that she won in the women's 5,000 meters.
Ile kitu nilikuwa naona nikifikiria at least niweze nikapata medal, sababu ukiona race ilikuwa ngumu, hatukuwa tunaachana, nobody alikuwa anataka kwenda mbele. So for me ilifika wakati nikasema at least if I can get even a bronze, nitakuwa nimefurahia sana, sababu it's an Olympics and kila mtu anataka kupata medal, sababu it's a great opportunity kupata silver. For me, I'm so happy. Although nilikuwa nataka at least ni achieve everything from track. For me nikasema sababu kila mtu alikimbilia hapo, so I can't have an excuse, sababu tulipitia hapo si wote. Although kuna wengine wanafurahia weather ikiwa baridi ama ikiwa joto, but for me ilikuwa perfect, ile tu ilikatana.
Well, that is Hellen Obiri, and you know, she's spoken about that silver medal. She finished fourth as she was attempting to double. And coach, looking at the calendar of events at the Tokyo Olympics, at the Tokyo Olympics, it was the 5,000 fast, then the 10,000. Unlike in Rio 2016, when it was the 10,000, then the 5,000. So Almaz won the gold, and then Vivian Cheruyot and Hellen Obiri understood how she was working and were able to pick the gold and silver in the basically the gold and silver at the 2016 games. Was it worth attempting the double?
No, we could have decided to have Hellen in either 10,000, and I think this is where she's strong, in the 10,000. You see, countries like Netherlands, they don't have athletes like Kenya, where we have so many athletes. And for them to have Sifa Hassan running the 5 and 10,000, they were trying to create their chances of winning more medals on track. And for us, we have so many athletes who can be able to measure in only one event. And I think for Hellen, it was an attempt for him to see whether he can be able to get us a medal. And we want to thank her for getting us a silver medal in 5,000. But I think for her to double, it was a tough call or a tough act for her. And that is why it costed her the 10,000 meters, though he broke her own record in 10,000 meters. But I think if we had given her one assignment, maybe we would have gotten the gold medal. But we want to say she really tried for her to be able to secure us a silver medal in the 5,000 meters.
Lilian Kasait and Agnes Jebet-Tirop, where would you place them? Because we've seen Agnes Jebet-Tirop shine at cross country. We've seen Lilian Kasait shine at cross country at African level and also pick a silver at age grade. I think that was in 2014. At the under 18 in 2014, yes. How much of more development is needed in the women's 5K? Because now that Hellen's gone, everyone suddenly has spotted a gap.
Yeah, I think Hellen, if I'm given a chance to advise Hellen, she's still strong in 10,000, especially the 10,000 meters. And Paris is only 3 years from now. She can still attempt to run the 10,000 in Paris and secure the gold medal that we still believe she can be able to win the gold medal. For 5,000 meters, we are not running short of good athletes. For Lilian Kasait and Agnes Tirop, maybe they were affected with the humidity in Tokyo. That may be affected. It played so much on their fitness level, and this affected them so much. But for Hellen, I don't think it is time to call it off for track. She's still strong and she'll be able to run the 10,000 meters in Paris. 5,000, we still have very good athletes. We still have them. 10,000 is something that we need to develop. We still don't have very good athletes in 10,000 meters.
Actually, we won't talk about the 10,000 because even on the men's side, I mean, it's not really looking that good given the number of athletes who've headed to road running at the expense of track. But how then do we develop a 10,000 meter culture? Ethiopia have it. They hold the national championship in Hengel, I mean the 10K in Hengelo. They've got the partnerships in Holland where they keep the 10,000 going. What should Kenya do?
Yeah, we need to invest heavily on that, and especially what the National Olympic Committee did with the marathoners. Yeah, they were given good money. I don't know how much, but they were given good money to train in a 10. So it kept them there. They trained. They were given money for training, and this at least minimized their travel and going outside to run a competition. For our 10,000 meter runners, we also need to come with that kind of a system. You see, most of them are doing half marathons, doing road races. If you look at Kibiwott, the guy who was very strong in 10,000 meters. First, he had not qualified for the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Secondly, he got injured. This was our best bet in 10,000 meters, and he's also he's so into running road races, posting good times in half marathon. I even broke the world record for half marathon. So we need to minimize our participation in road races. But you see, these guys also want to earn a living. So the National Olympic Committee and also the Athletics Kenya should come up with a program whereby they compensate these athletes. They allow them to train. If we have a major championship like now, next year we are going to Oregon for the World Championships, and also we are having the Commonwealth Games in Manchester. Mm-hmm. We need to put more resources, pay them, give them a bit of money so that they can be able to continue with training and prepare themselves very well. I think 10,000 is within our reach, but we have to see how we will be able to handle our athletes not to participate in so many road races.
Well, talking about, that's something that I wanted to talk about much later, about the investment. But there is something that, all Kenyans are mad about, and rightly so. The only story is people had been warned about this. Let's talk about the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase. Hyvin Kiyeng winning a bronze. This was her reaction after the race.
Hatujaenda bure. Juzi nikikimbia hits nikaanza kusikia my hamstring, so even today when I was trying to push, so nilikuwa naanza kusikia. Then nikasema wacha nisifuata hawa wenye wameenda mbele. But nilikuwa najua at least nikuwa na nguvu ya kumalizia. That lady from America, alitoka na speed sana. Then me sikukuwa na hiyo reaction. So nilikuwa najua race itakuwa faster because we knew it from 2 days ago, because those ladies from America, even I was not expecting, because they huwa wanakaa nyuma, then the last 2 laps wanaanza kuenda, but for this one today alienda mapema. So me nilikuwa na shida kitambo, but when I was running the last 2 diamond leagues I was not feeling, but juzi kwa tukikimbia hits ikaanza tena na ilikuwa imepona, so I was trying to ningangania hii siku mbili yenye imepaki, but at least ninashukuru because penye nimefika I was not even expecting. Tushukuru yenye tunapata, waache ku criticize sisi, because up to now I think we have done something, and every time wasikuwa na expect tu hivyo tu, mpaka wasiongee mbaya ndio haribu morale ya wengine wenye wachakimbia. Watupe tu moral, we will still get something good for them.
Okay, Kiboko irudi. Tuache ku criticize, we've been told that, but I think it's an area of concern. Without saying, she's won that in very difficult conditions, but the thing is, it's a reason for worry within the athletic circles.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because also we had Beatrice. She had an injury, and she was running through with an injury. So we did not have we did not we could not be able to match what was happening on the track during the finals because Beatrice was injured, and there was no way she could be able to match up what was happening there. And also for Kieng, we all expected her to get us a gold medal, but now she has confirmed that she had an injury and she had to go through it, try to fight. And we want to thank God because she was able to get us a bronze medal. Kenyans should not be criticizing our athletes. We should be complimenting them because running is not easy. If it was easy, we could have everybody running because people are making money out of it. But you see, it's not an easy thing. Somebody, even in Kenya now, those people are working in the government. People are working from Monday to Friday. But for athletes, they work from Monday to Sunday. So it's not an easy thing. So when you see somebody has not been able to perform to our expectation, we should always be able to congratulate them and thank them because it's not easy. If it was easy, out of the 42 million Kenyans, 45 would have around 40 people running. 40 million Kenyans running. But now
you're only sending 85.
You're only sending 85. Well, so it's not an easy thing.
Well, then you would have to use the numbers that India does when selecting 11 people out of 1.4 billion people to be part of their cricket team. That's a crazy percentage. So many decimal points. I mean, you've got to talk about 3,000 meters men's steeplechase, a bronze by Benjamin Keegan. And again, he speaks about cramping and also having a little bit of a problem about lapping. Listen to Benjamin Keegan.
Kama ni kunipa motisha ili niweze kukimbia SS ambaye pato iko mbele yangu, ambapo hii ni mara yangu ya kwanza kukimbia Olympics. So nimeshukuru Mungu kwa hiyo, kwa sababu nimeweza kuleta medali kwa Olympic yangu ya kwanza. So nilikuwa naona tu kuna area ambayo inahitaji niweze kurekebisha kama vile laughing ilinishinda kidogo, ambapo kama ningekuwa na laughing ya kutosha ningeweza kushinda. Nilikuwa na sai nilete mtu medal. Ombi langu nilikuwa nipate medal. Yeah, ingawa uwanja iko favorable sana juu temua penye tulingia maji ilikuwa bado iko. So ilikuwa changamoto kama penye unavuata mtu. So temua kiinua mguu na kumwakia hiyo maji. So jambo ambalo ilikuwa ni tatizo, lakini nashukuru Mungu kwa kazi ambaye amenitendea siku ya leo. Nilikuwa makosa yangu hapo nilikuwa nimeachia sana. Kama ungekuwa kitu mita mbili ningechukua namba ya pili ama namba ya kwanza. Juu walikuwa wameenda mbali kidogo ambaye ilibidi ning'ang'ane.
Well, there is an unusual form of, he is very much aware of what went entirely in the race and where his strengths are and where his weaknesses are.
Yeah, you know, this is an event whereby since 1968 we've been winning. The first guy, Amos Biwott, started this thing in 1968 in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. And we've been winning all along in all these steeplechase event. But for the first time, this was a big challenge for him, and you've heard what he talked about, and even the lapping and all this. We didn't have the strongest guys going to Olympics. That one for sure, because without Conseslus Kipruto, the guy who was handed the baton by Ezekiel Kemboi, now who else was supposed to be in that team? And also now having only one contender in these finals, we are used to having three of them, and having the three of them, our options are always bright for us to win. But now having one challenger and having people like El Khattabi running in this event, El Bakali and the Ethiopians, this was a big challenge. But we have to thank God because getting the bronze medal, though it's unfortunate for Kenyans to lose this thing, because since '68 we've been sitting saying that this is our event. But whatever happened, we have to thank God.
Okay, there is something that was raised 2 years ago. Jonathan Komen writes for The Standard, and he warned that the steeplechase dominance was a threat. It started with Evan Chega of the United States. Then we had Soufiane El Bakali. We had Mehisi Benabad of France. The warning signs were there. Is this the last red flag? Or are we going to see a radical approach to steeplechasing in the country?
Yeah, we need to have a radical approach, because if if we go back and look at our steeplechasers, those who are running steeplechase, I would like to talk about Moses Kiptanui. Moses Kiptanui used to run 1,500 meters. He was very good in 1,500 meters. Moses Kiptanui used to run 5,000 meters. He was running around 12:50 something. So if we need to be able to go back to where we were, we need to be able to combine all this. And this goes to the coaches. If you want to have a good steeplechaser, he must have the speed of a 1,500 meter runner and the stamina and strength and endurance of a 5,000 meter runner, so that you come in between and be able to challenge the world. Because now if you look at El Bakari, he had a personal best of 3:31 this season in 1,500 meters. So how was it possible for us to challenge him? Because the last meters, he just took off. And that is how he was able to win this event. So we need to look into that, and that belongs to the coaches. We need to sit down and think. And the other thing also is that we need to encourage more of our athletes to run the steeplechase. In those years, we used to have so many qualifiers, so many guys qualifying for this event. But if you look at what happened, we had very few qualifiers in this event. And we have to say that him being a soldier, he fought it gallantly. He fought very hard to at least make sure that we get this medal for the country.
Actually, I remember after the semi-final, said he ni vita. Well, Coach Stephen Mwaniki, thank you very much. I know we'll be speaking just about another couple of weeks, and this is as the World Under-20 Championships, take center stage, the future of Kenya's athletics and the risk of athletes disappearing by the age of 21. It's one that's there. Coach, thank you very much for your time this morning. We shall be taking a short break, and when we get back, we shall be joined by Innocent Simiyu. He is the head coach of Shujaa. What next? And knowing very well that the World 7 Series is coming, and that's in September. What kind of work that needs to be done to ensure that the mistakes or the learning lessons from Tokyo are put into effect? Coming at the end of this short break.
Can't understand why. You get to be crown prince. Do you really think that you deserve to be crown prince?
You don't happen to like me, do you?
I'm warning you. Never touch her again.
How dare you? As public servants, you disregarded lives, spread rumors that vessels were being made.
I thought that. She was just very arrogant. I never thought that she'd do something this evil.
How dare she do that? She deceived me.
以为当归入药汤，相思泪许的心头上，捏儿了手在纸上。
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Why is it so hard for us to prove Cesar's guilty? And now the guy is taking over the entire company.
She just called to threaten me about telling everyone about Mauro.
What? But how did that happen?
We have to prevent this, Cesar.
I want to leave an evidence in case something happens to me.
Lucio heard Lucrecia and Cesar saying that my mother was dead. And today he repeated it in front of Eloisa that Florencia is dead.
Exaggerate.
Yes, I'm Horacio Espinosa. I'm here in my house and I'm bleeding. I need help. Mr. Maximiliano Montesinos was hitting me. I can't take it any longer.
De una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas.
Nikifa, mutapumzika.
Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the Popos. Huh?
Drama.
Will he assault the Queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
Apologies, and welcome back to Sportscheck on this Monday morning, and it is the 9th day of August 2021, and our sign language interpreter within this hour is Lensa Odingo. And continuing with a conversation around sports, after the Tokyo Olympic Games, so much to be said and so much work to be done heading into the Commonwealth Games 2022 and also Paris 2024. So what's next lined up for one of the sports? We're joined by Innocent Simiyu, who is the head coach of Shujaa, the Kenya Sevens team, who finished 9th at the Tokyo Games. And he'll be taking us through these matches one by one, plus also the series that's coming up, starting with Vancouver in September, heading to the Americas, and what it means for their preparations. And a very good morning to you, Innocent Simiyu. He's joining us from Bungoma County.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. First of all, the overall performance of the team at the Olympics. You spoke much about execution. Could give us an overview of how it went down in Tokyo.
I think one of the biggest targets for us in the Olympics was to compete for the medals. I think we were not able to compete in the medal bracket. But the team put in a good fight. They gave it their best. All the games were very competitive. It came down to a score. For us as a team, it's a positive because we have improved on the performance of the previous Olympics. So the journey for the next Olympics starts now, and we have seen that preparation is very key in regards to get performance in the Olympics.
So, Coach, let me first speak about the first game that you played against the United States. It was a very close game for you. 1914, the United States winning it right at the death. And I'm sure
a lot of people were saying, well, looks like this is the right start. What was that final moment where the US was able to break through the defense line, get that get those 7 points that changed the entire perspective of the pool?
It was, I think for us, if you look at that game, you have to look at it in context. Because we started slow, US went up, but we got a groove with 10 minutes to go. Unfortunately, we don't have to try. And that preparation for the Olympics game is a very vital thing. We were not lucky to go to LA for the 7th tournament in LA. And if you look at all the top 8 teams, they all played 2 weeks of the tournament. So the lack of game was a very big factor because we had 5 to the US we did not convert. And those remember we were coming off a 9.5 not doing anything in activity, and we were playing catch up in regards to how we were building up to the Olympics. So any sort of game or any sort of tournament was very key in regards to us in terms of preparations.
One of the positives that was taken from that match was that handling errors were very, very few in that game. If we were to speak about the improvement in how the players, handle the ball and move around, What has been the progress from your analysis?
The team has improved. There are a lot of boxes of good things that are working with the team in regards to even handling, moving the ball across attacking space. In terms of our set piece and our approach to set piece, if you look at our statistics for lineouts, we won a lot of lineouts back, which is something that is not known for Kenya. So other areas where we are good at, but we didn't execute on the tournament, like breakdown. We were a bit predictable in how we approached contact. And so it was a matter of speed. Our speed over second man and how the ball carrier approached the breakdown was a concern to us. But in terms of moving the ball, in terms of how we scoring tries from fast-paced play, so there's a lot of good things, but they are all fragmented. The thing that we needed is that we needed to play a few more tournaments so that we can bring this together. And if you could look at the tournament towards the end, when we met Ireland again, we bet them 22-0 because now, because of playing together, you sort of get that yell of the team and together. So that's where we are, but we are hopeful for this season coming up. We have a work and we players who are really ready to play and represent the country.
I've seen is the introduction of younger players. We've seen Daniel Tabu, John Stone Olindi, all coming through the ranks and starting to make an impact. What's your assessment of these young players who are coming into the Shujaa setup?
They are the future. I don't know. It is their time right now because when we begin this next cycle, of course, we'll give more priority to the young guys to have more game time coming up to the Commonwealth Games. And we're looking at all the players who will be relevant or will be at the top form by then. So we're very happy and excited with how they're playing. The biggest thing I think for them is that they're very good players. They can play, but can you play within a structure? Because when you go outside there, you're meeting the best of the best. So there has to be some sense of structure in regards to how you play. So that is what I'm thinking they're learning a lot right now, just playing within a sort of structure and a style of play for the team. And they're really picking it up very well. So going forward, you'll be seeing a lot more of the young guys starting and playing because this is their time now.
Now, the other matter that I would like to talk about, you keep mentioning, about the structure and the boxes that you picked and the young players, the effort to take this onto the club system, such that at the National 7 circuit, if you see as the tour goes around the country, you're able to see things that's common about Kenya 7's systems, and as a coach, you get one kind of headache that no one really wants, which is the thing blend of players.
See about 18 players in the national team, and eventually only 12 may have to travel.
It's a very big problem for Kenya because in a way we run a top-down approach. Because if you look at the quality or the level of play at the level and the international level, there's a very big gap. And a challenge that you have as a coach for the national team in Kenya is that you have to close those gaps. And closing those gaps, that gap is basic things we should have done at the formative stage between age 12 to 18. Yeah. So most of these basic skills like passing, racking, high ball, tackling should have been done early. But we find that because there's a gap and you're going to an international stage, we have to do them. So we end up spending a lot of time to close that gap. And I don't know what the rugby union we will have to do in regards to maybe have more proactive approach to have better coaches or have more coaches coming in at a level so that the player start pass at the national team. He's a good player, he can run, but he cannot pass off his left hand. Then you have to spend a lot of hours teaching that. You have players who the tackle technique is wrong, so you have to teach them that. There are players, if you look at the sevens games and how it's going in regards to the kickoff, some of the players now encounter the having a system in kickoff and having pods where you lift each other in the they encounter them at the national team level. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done earlier so that it makes the work easier, and as a nation we'll have a better team. But all in all, we have very good players who are willing to learn and are putting in the hard work, and we managed to tick off some boxes. If you look at the team in South Africa and the team in Commonwealth, the team in South Africa had a lot of errors, handling errors, but we've really pushed handling errors, and it has really improved, and you can see how the team is playing, and we are able to attack more freely, and we are able to adapt to rush defenses. If you look at the team tackling percentage in our last tournament in Cape Town, that was in April, yeah. The team had a tackle completion rate of 48%, which is quite low, as in you can't compete with that. And right now we moved to 65. So there's a lot of improvement. But these are basic things which we are teaching tackling technique as a national team. It's not things that we have been doing. So the Olympics, in a way, came at a point where the team was not right. But we believe if we continue with the same work, we will get the team to the right place.
All right, Innocent Simiyu, please kindly hold on to that line. We'll be coming back to you shortly.
We are joining our reporter Wycliffe out in Kisumu, and the Ministry of Transport made the announcement that vehicles can now operate at full capacity. What's the situation in Kisumu? Let's listen in and see how the passengers are responding to this, how the operators are responding to the return to full capacity service vehicles.
Well, a very good morning to you, Daniel Wahome, back in Nairobi. Here we are in Kisumu. Actually, at this moment, there are light showers of rain, if you can notice outside here. But then we have to do this linkage. You do remember that today is Monday, the 9th of August 2021, when the Ministry of, the government announced that passenger service vehicles will resume full capacity. And you do remember that this directive was placed earlier last year when COVID-19 hit the country, just as part of the measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19. But then again, you do realize that the transport sector is one of the many sectors in the country that have been adversely hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. And just to push on operators in this sector from further losses resulting from this pandemic, the government last week announced that PSV operators will resume full capacity. And just right now, I'm going to engage a few operators here to get to understand what they think, what they make of this direction at this point. Brother, hello. Unasimama hapa hivi? Simama tu hapa hivi. Utatueleza majina yako, kazi unafanya hapa na maoni yako kuhusu kufunguliwa kwa transport sector. Unasemaje?
Sawa. Mimi kwa majina naitwa Hussein Yusuf. Mimi ni nasimamia Simba Coach Company Kisumu to Mombasa. Naam.
Kisumu to Mombasa, what do you think? Unasemaje kuhusu kufunguliwa kwa transport sector as part of the measures probably ndio msipate hasara zaidi?
Serikali imesaidia kwanza sana kwa mwananchi sababu fare tayari imesharudi chini. Lakini serikali pia itusaidie. Mafuta bado iko juu, sasa bei bado haiwezi rudi sana. Alafu cha pili, gari wezi jaa, alafu tuseme saa 4 imeipata barabarani. Tuseme gari inatoka Mombasa asubuhi, ikijaribu sana ni saa 6 inaweza fika Kisumu. Sasa tukiweka kama curfew saa 4 abiria kafike Kisumu na kulala kwenye gari, wanazidi basi kuinteract na wanazidi kuambukizana. Serikali isaidia hapo kidogo kuhusu magari ya kusafiri usiku mwendo mrefu.
Sawa, hiyo itaangaliwa. Lakini pia tumeambiwa kwamba wale wanaofanya katika wahudumu wa matatu kama wewe, mmeagana na serikali kwamba mtahakikisha kwamba yale masharti ambayo yamewekwa na serikali kudhibiti msambao wa COVID-19 nyinyi mtazingatia. Mko tayari?
Sisi tuko tayari. Hata ukiona kwenye gari hapo ukiingia una sanitize, tunahakikisha mpaka uwe na mask. haturuhusu mtu kukaa bila mask kwenye gari. Kama hawezi basi asipande gari. Naam.
Nimeanza kuangalia magari mengi, sijaona kama labda mnahudumia abiria kwa upande wa temperature. Do you guys take the temperature readings?
Yeah, tunachukua temperature readings. Na hiyo ni lazima kwa kila abiria. Ni venye sasa mvua inanyesha. Ndio maana hujaona kinachoendelea. Unaona hakuna mtu mlangoni. Naam.
Hapo wale tulikuweza kuelezwa kwamba the directive that required you people to operate in 60%, probably it came with some losses. Kwa sasa hii mtaona faida kweli?
Tutaona faida, lakini faida ije mara moja. Faida ije polepole, sababu hata kama imewekwa 60, abiria wenyewe wako wapi? Abiria hakuna. Bado ni kama unabeba social distance. Sababu abiria hakuna kabisa. Ingekuwa wamefungua na tumeona hata hapa watu wamekosa magari, tungejua kweli kuna kazi, lakini bado kazi hakuna.
Maanisha nyinyi mko tayari kubeba 100%, lakini sasa abiria
sisi tuko karibu kubeba tena kabisa, na tutasaidia na serikali, lakini pia serikali tusaidie hapo kwa time tafadhali tu. Naam.
Umelilia tena upande wa wakati. Ushauri wako kwa wahudumu wengine kama wewe ni kaga kulingana na kutii masharti ya kudhibiti msambao wa COVID-19. Ushauri wako ni gani?
Corona ipo, ni kila mtu amini corona ipo, na tuvae mask, tusanitize, tuache mambo kusalamiana sana. Naam.
Asante sana Yoshi. Daniel, you'll allow me to engage one more person here. Usimama hapa ndugu. Majina yako?
Kwa majina naitwa
jina yako na kazi unafanya hapa, alafu na maoni yako kuhusiana na the new directive from the government.
Kwa majina naitwa Brian Otieno Lodge. Mimi ni mkaji wa Kisumu. Hapa mimi ni manager ya gari.
Unafanya na gari gani?
Nafanya kwa Nyaugenya basi.
Daniel, tuambie kwa sasa mlikuwa mnabeba na pesa ngapi, na kwa sasa wewe mmefunguliwa mtakuwa mnabeba na pesa ngapi? Na ile ni ngapi?
Kama bado serikali ilituwekea social distance, tulikuwa tunabeba shilingi 1,500. Na sasa pia hatujashusha bei vile, lakini kubeba tunabeba. Tumeshukuru sana kwa hiyo nafasi tulipewa ya kubeba abiria full. Tumerudishia president, asante sana. Sasa tunaweza ongea, sababu ukiangalia magari sasa zinabeba watu mzima. Kuna wengine wanaweza pewa lift, kama venye unajua hii biashara ya barabara kuna watu wengine wanapandishwaga bure. Sasa kushukuru, tunashukuru sana, lakini bei hatujashusha pia bado vile. Sasa tunaweza beba 1,000 kama mbaya kwa wale abiria wenye hawana.
Na mko tayari kama wahudumu wa matatu, mko tayari kuzingatia yale masharti ambayo yamewekwa na serikali kudhibiti msambao wa COVID-19? Mko tayari?
Masharti tunazingatia kama venye serikali imesema. Kwanza tunasema magari zetu hazipandwi bila kusanitize, kuweka mask. Hatuhudumii watu kama hao, sababu hiyo kuwahudumia watu kama hao ndio inazidi kutupa madhara. Pengine wana corona na sisi hatuna, wakuja wajichanganye na sisi, tunaweza pata hiyo madhara. So hatushughulikii watu wenye hawahudumii mazingatia ya serikali.
Wenye unaongea kwa uzuri sana, kumaanisha wewe mwenyewe unatambua kwamba kuzingatia yale masharti yana manufaa mengine. Kwa hivyo ushauri wako kwa wahudumu wengine ni gani?
Ushauri yetu ni tuzidi kufanya kazi, serikali ingetuangalilia pia hiyo kazi ya usiku magari kukimbia. Tunaomba sana wangetufanyia hivyo. Sisi hatuna maneno mingi ya kusema, lakini sasa tunarudishia tu shukrani, hakuna maneno mengine. Asante.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One more person, Daniel, and then I'll bring it back to you. Brother. Tueleze majina yako, angalia maski yako vizuri. Tueleze majina yako, kazi yako kwenye station hii na maoni yako kuhusu hii tangazo jipya ya serikali.
Kwa jina naitwa Walter Amata Obiewa. Mimi ni conductor wa matatu.
Ongea kwa sauti kidogo.
Kwa jina naitwa Walter Amata Obiewa. Mimi ni conductor wa matatu hapa stage. Na kulingana na venye wamefungua watu wabebe capacity venye ilikuwaga, naona hapo itakuwa sawa. At least unaweza elewana na abiria, ule mwenye amelemewa unaweza mkatia. Unajua gari inaenda na capacity yake ya kawaida. Sasa Kenya naweza omba serikali at least tufungulie time story na curfew aondoe, ili tukue na magari za usiku pia, ili tuone kama sekta ya matatu inaweza tusaidia.
Wewe na ile sako ambayo unafanya nayo kwa sasa, umeweka mkakati gani kuhakikisha kwamba yale masharti ambayo yamewekwa na serikali yanazingatiwa?
Kulingana na sako yangu ya K2BU nimeweka kila kitu, kama sanitizer iko, watu wananawa mkono kwanza ndio wanaingia ndani ya gari. Sorry na mask, huwezi ingia kwa gari yangu bila mask, unavaa mask yako kawaida. Alafu tunakuwa na manifest ya kuandika majina ya watu wenye wameingia ndani ya gari yangu, na temperature pia tunapima. Ni hayo.
Tuambie upande wa nauli, hali ya kawaida pengine mlikuwa mmeongeza nauli kuhakikisha kwamba hampati hasara zaidi. Kwa sasa venye mmekubaliwa kubeba full capacity, mtakuwa mmeshukisha nauli?
Nauli tunaweza shukisha, lakini kulingana na fuel pia, fuel ilipandishwa, fuel iko juu. Tukirudisha nauli tunaweza kata tu kidogo, hata kama ni 50 bob, tuone venye tunaweza fanya na abiria wetu au wateja wetu wa kawaida. Lakini kulingana na fuel pia, serikali waangalie story ya fuel, kama inaturegeshia chini, hata kama wakate kidogo, at least pia si tuone venye tunaweza patako nini profit kidogo.
Na unaona tofauti gani kati ya leo na hizo siku zingine?
Kati ya
leo ambayo mnaanza kubeba full capacity na hata tuseme jana hiyo siku nyingine, kuna tofauti kweli?
Tofauti nayo hakuna, juu abiria pia wako ni wachache, tunawatafuta kidogo kidogo. Sasa magari zingine zinatoka na less, ni kama tunabeba tu social distancing, lakini hiyo ni kidogo kidogo tu. Mbele tutakuwa sawa, mbele watakuwa sawa.
Asante ndugu yangu. Daniel, those are some of the opinions and the remarks as they are registered by various matatu operators from this side. One thing that is coming out clear is that even though they have been allowed to operate in full, they still decline the low number of passengers. Actually, they are carrying full capacity, but then there are no passengers probably to fill those spaces. And another thing, they are calling on the government probably to revise timings. You do remember that these PSVs are not allowed to operate outside the curfew hours that run between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. So actually, vehicles that fly long routes as long as between Kisumu and Mombasa, it takes them time. So they are calling upon the government probably to revise the time so that we can maximize and capitalize on this new directive. We'll continue monitoring the situation and probably to assess the preparedness of these matatu operators to comply with the new directive as far as combating COVID-19 is concerned. Daniel, but now allow me to hand it back to you.
Erokamanu Wycliffe, he's our reporter out in Kisumu County, looking at the situation of transport in that county. And this is after it was announced on Friday that public service vehicles can operate at full capacity so long as they stick to particular protocols. And right now we continue with our conversation with Innocent Simiu, who is the coach of Shujaa. So Innocent Simiu, we get back to you. And you've spoken about what the politicians have been throwing barbs about, the bottom-up approach to sport. It's always considered the main thing. And how Kenya at the moment, every school, every club at the grassroots has got its own system. Eventually, how much collaboration or interest is coming from to you, Innocent, if I was to ask, from coaches who have seen a particular way to the national team and they would like to use it at club level or even at school level?
Rugby who are involved. I think what we need is a national dialogue in regards to the style of play of Kenya, because we've had so many coaches. If you look at the last even 4 years, between the last Olympics and this Olympics, we've had 4 coaches. So it's it's a thing that we need to sit down as a fraternity, discuss what will be the best playing style, and also maybe look for the players who fit that playing style, or develop a style based on the players that are there.
All right. Coach Innocent,
very much for your time this morning, and we hope to see the national team in action in September in Vancouver after once the series returns, and also in Edmonton. All the best to Shuja. Hope to see you in action, and as you like you say, keep ticking the boxes, and we'll keep cheering the team.
Cheering.
Thank you.
Innocent speaking to us from Bungoma County. That's where he works from, building on the Olympics. We'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, let's talk football and the Olympic program. The Brazilians winning another gold medal. That was no mean feat for them, being pushed to 120 minutes. The Americans missing out on a gold on the women's side. The DFB Pokal was live on KBC Channel 1 and Y254. Plus, there is the National Super League. There are teams that are knocking on the doors on the FKF Premier League. Plus, the scourge of match manipulation. Coming up after this short break.